Supremo. Attitude and power sneakers. Attitude and power sneakers. To look that good just ain't that easy. Here's a Mr. Wonderman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sonic Shuffle, a random and holistic Sonic lore podcast. I'm Dan, the teacher.
I'm Morg, one of the students.
And I'm Devon, the other student.
And this week, we're talking about more Sonic the Comic, the UK Sonic comic. I did find one small snippet of news. And while I'm saying this, I'm gonna check if there's any other small bits of news. Nope. The one small bit of news is that Sonic Comics writer Ian Flynn has been brought on Sonic Prime as a consultant. I do not believe he is a writer for it currently, but he has written for Sonic TV before. He wrote a couple episodes of the Sonic Boom cartoon. And he's working on the comics. Not much else to say about that.
What is Sonic Prime?
Sonic Prime is a Netflix show coming out, I don't remember if it's next year or 2 years, but it is a Netflix original series based on Sonic. They haven't let on much, but it seems to be some sort of like multiverse thing, though not in the sense of like loads of Sonic continuities. It's more just a bunch of what ifs, I think.
What if Dr. Starline got to rule the world?
We
are all asking.
I'm definitely asking it. So, yeah, that's the only bit of news right now. Let's get into our first issue for this week.
Free inside giant Sonic and Tails poster.
Yeah. Issue 29. There's some opening news.
I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah. In the control zone, they note that they're starting another side comic called Mutant League Football, based on Mutant League Football, which was this weird little Genesis game. It was like this weird fantastical version of football where everyone was like monsters and stuff. We'll get to that comic later. I'll just
so it's kind of like if the Monstars were in football instead of basketball.
It's like if both it's like if both teams were the Monstars.
Interesting.
The Monstars.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Generally, when it comes to the non-Sonic stuff, we'll probably talk about it very briefly. They note that there's going to be more Sega Tour Bus dates, which was a promotional thing they did at the time. But
what do they even show with the Sega Tour? Do they let you like play the game or something?
Yeah, it was like this tour bus where it would have like promotional stuff, and there were like a couple there were like some Genesis systems in there that any prospective children who were able to get on it could play for a while.
Nice.
Yeah. Our first story is The Sentinel. A giant statue rumbles out of the aquatic ruin zone. Looks like some sort of like, sort of a fantastical version of a, Greco-Roman warrior.
It's just a guy.
Sonic is, real big guy. I do notice they threw in a little Easter egg where, one of the murals does depict Sonic on a chariot.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
The Kintobor computer, is like telling Sonic about this and to check on it and make sure nothing goes wrong. He's gonna have to go by himself for this one. He does so. He teleports over using the star post, and then faces off against some badniks, dodges some arrows, falls into the ocean, and is rescued by this massive statue. He initially thinks it's a big badnik, but no, it's its own thing. It speaks to him. He explains he's a sentinel built to watch over the city by the Ancient Ones. He's lain dormant for 2,000 years, and then he falls apart because the city is deserted, and his work is finished.
Yeah, this is a very, nothing thing. He's just, there, and then...
Yeah, I'm
gone.
I love it.
The script is by Nigel Kitching.
This statue man is like, oh, I was built to protect this city and ancient civilization by my masters. And then the city started to flood, so they left. And Sonic's like, oh, wait, so they just left you behind? Some masters. And the dude's like, yeah, anyways, I'll die now.
Yeah. It's a funny little one-off bit. Interesting short story. We get some reviews for some very classic and cult classic Sega Genesis games. There's Streets of Rage 3, classic beat 'em up. It had a bunch of secret characters in them. One of them was a kangaroo.
Interesting.
Shining Force 2 is Shining Force 2 is a tactical RPG, but I guess they describe it as a strategy game. A combination of an adventure game and a strategy game, which I guess is sort of indicative of how RPGs weren't really a big thing in the West at the time. Shining Force 2 is neat, though. It's got, one thing that's really cool about its setting is, it's got, lots of, anime centaurs. All the knights are anime centaurs.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of anime centaurs, let's find out what Tails is doing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, let's talk about Tails real quick.
Wait, what game is the Anima Centaur?
The game is called Shining Force 2. Incidentally, both of these are, available on a lot of platforms. Sega, distributes the games pretty widely these days. I am gonna check real quick. I think both of them are on Steam. Yes, they are both on Steam.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
You fucking know it.
Let's fucking go.
I don't know if it's any good, but...
I've heard good things about them. They're kind of forgotten compared to, a lot of other, Sega Genesis Mega Drive classics, but I remember playing a little bit of one, and it did seem pretty neat. Also, the Shining Force series is weird because basically every game is a different genre of RPG. There's some that are tactical RPGs, there's one that's a dungeon crawler, there's one that's an isometric view. It's interesting in that aspect. So...
yes, sorry to fuck up your transition.
No, it's cool. I like it. I like talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun game.
Let's see. Yeah, in Tails, the Morbidden Hunt, Tails is being hunted down by I believe a griffin, and it's just sort of a weird, it's got a sort of caveman mentality. Tails is running from it. he accidentally, like, is able to defeat it just because, like, it keeps jumping at him and he's dodging and it's hitting the ground in front of him. Then Tails runs into some centaurs. A different kind of centaur than...
Then Tails runs into some sexy dog centaurs.
Yeah, they've got dog half on the top, full on horse on the bottom. It's very interesting to see. Like,
it's very interesting to see cartoon drawn Tails meet some weird 90s realistic fantasy dog centaurs.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this is some Monster Manual shit, and I love it. Between that and the Griffin from earlier.
Yeah, someone just cracked open a D&D book and was like, alright, let's fucking go.
Yeah, let's go.
They sort of...
Tails fucking rides on one of their backs.
Yeah. They see him as a hero.
Which, if I was a centaur, I would feel like that would be deeply personal.
Mm-hmm. You need at least, like, 6 hearts in your relationship meter to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, kid, I ain't giving piggyback rides to just anybody.
Mm-hmm. But they see Tails as a hero for inadvertently defeating the Griffin. And give him their fastest boat to, hunt down, the Goblin Queen. Tails gets on it, and it goes so fast that he can't stop, and he crashes right into the shore. That's sort of the end of the story. He runs into, I don't remember his name. He's like Prince something or other, the Goblin Queen's sister. We'll talk about him later.
I do have to say, we do get Tails' Pog face in this
last
panel.
Yeah, it is kind of a Pog.
Tails is given Pog.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll make it a server emote or something. It is meant to invoke
Just gonna send that...
He's a little nervous.
Send that to Sonic Chat.
Yeah. The intended expression is the opposite of pogging, however. He seems to be very scared of this weird goblin man. It's an anti-pog. Let's see, other stuff.
That is so not pog.
Mm-hmm. The Streets of Rage comic continues. A guy gets blown up on a toilet. Skates is...
What a way to go.
Mm-hmm. Skates is given the choice between, killing the antagonist or being a good guy. He chooses not to be a murderer and to just let him go to prison. Thanks to his, findings throughout this, comic, a bunch of police officers are exposed for their corruption and imprisoned.
Let's go.
Oh
wait.
That's how you know it's a fantasy.
I'm like, wait, no, prison.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's offered to join up with the crew, and he technically does, but he doesn't become a cop because he firmly believes in ACAB, which good for him. I mean, I certainly would if I got into that little adventure of his. Let's see, what else? In the news section, there is the reveal of upcoming hit title, Bubsy 2. One day I thought about, someday we'll talk about Bubsy and other knockoff 90s platformers. I feel like they are part of Sonic's history in a sense. A bunch of kids draw fan art of Sonic in football uniforms because this issue came out while the World Cup was happening. we get more of the very upsetting to look at pirate STC comic. I'm not gonna talk about it because I barely understand what's going on and I hate to look at it. One person, or in the Speedline section, there is a fan art that is just Babs from Tiny Toons. I just thought that was funny, just because there's seemingly no connection. I don't think Fleetway is owned by Warner Brothers or anything. They just let them publish that. But that's it for this issue. In the next issue, issue 30, let's see. Nothing big in the Control Zone to note. Let's see. We get our first comic for this issue, which is Metamorphia.
How come it's
Sonic...
not always like it? Never mind. Cut this out.
Don't worry about it. So, in this first issue, Metamorphia, Sonic rescues some animals from a capsule, and he is begged for help by a mysterious, very rubber hose looking girl, and she says her zone has been invaded by a monster. He agrees to help her, but Amy and Tails think something's weird going on with that.
Yeah, because she looks horrifying.
She is very strange and upsetting to look at.
She
like
just
we
has,
just got
weird
done with
eyes.
Yeah, this is like 2 weeks after we did the Tailstalk creepypasta, and you know what?
Mm-hmm.
What a great one to follow up on, because this is also a creepypasta character.
Yeah. Sonic goes to her zone, which seems to be this very decrepit, ruined city. Like, I guess
like,
this is just one. It's all like smashed up, and it's got like this dark green palette to it.
It's called the Grim Zone.
Yes, the Grim Zone.
Yeah, Detroit.
Grim Dark Zone, more like.
This is just south end of London.
Oh no, we're in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like an edgy 90s comic, which I guess this is from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't call Sonic edgy normally.
Yeah.
This is now.
Or at least Sonic the comic wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. I guess it kind of shows a bunch of these people are people who were working on 2000 AD and stuff, and that's a pretty edgy comic. It's sort of like a grim dark action Mad Magazine situation.
It's called 2000 AD?
Yeah, or 2000 AD is the comic that a lot of these people worked on.
I wonder how disappointing the actual 2000 AD was for them.
Yeah. I wonder. This is 2000 AD is where Judge Dredd is from. Sonic faces off against some soldier badniks, takes them out very easily, but the girl reveals her true form. She is the monster. She is a shapeshifter named Metamorphia, who has been hired by Dr. Robotnik to defeat Sonic. She becomes this big monster lady covered in warts.
She is covered in warts. I don't know how. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
I thought they were just weird
detail.
spikes.
Maybe.
There were bumps on her legs and arms, though.
She's got huge fangs. Or tusks, maybe. She takes out Sonic by taking the form of, toxic gas, and by Sonic inhaling her, he gets knocked out.
I don't like that because this like implies that part of her was like inhaled by Sonic.
Yeah, to turn yourself into a gas and then be inhaled by someone is very intimate, and I don't think they know each other like that.
I definitely feel like I've read a comic somewhere somewhere less appropriate that has this story.
Yeah, these dang artists need to get their turns into a gas and you inhale me fetish out of my Sonic.
Seriously.
Sonic is imprisoned in a retro block where any force he uses on it is reversed back on him. So he just decides to. I'm not really sure how this works. He
I don't get this.
Decides to relax?
Yeah.
I guess?
Yeah, the logic he uses is if me doing something will force the barrier to get stronger or hurt me doing nothing will just destroy the box.
Yeah, does it just fall apart? He's not dead, first of all. He's not, dead inside it, so he's still, moving, I guess. But, that's just, a little thing. It's what did they expect him to do if he was gonna give up?
To which I have to say one thing.
Just thought...
How'd they put him into the box if he was passed out? Because if you threw him in there and he's passed out, then the box would just break apart because he's not doing anything.
I would assume it has to do with this weird beam of energy floating around, but I don't really know. It's weird.
Yeah, Eggman, you gotta go back to the drawing board on this one.
I feel like I wouldn't have questioned it if it was a different solution of him getting out of it, you know?
Yeah, if he just ran backwards or something, I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun, yeah. So he is able to, he breaks free, he attacks Metamorphia. Metamorphia turns into a rocket and flies away.
I like her teeth.
Yeah, she's got very sharp teeth, it's cool.
I don't know why she didn't just turn back into a poisonous gas.
She decides instead to turn into Tails, but she's unable to stay in character and is just very rude and misleading.
Yeah,
Tails rude now.
Since when were you my keeper? I'm here to help you, so button it, Spiky.
Something...
Tails wouldn't be that fucking rude to me. He is an idiot. Sonic keeps calling him dumb, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be rude eventually if someone kept calling me dumb.
I do love Metamorphina. It's just how would these two interact with each other? Oh, Tails would constantly just neg Sonic.
Yeah. Well, Sonic constantly negs Tails, so...
Yeah, that's what Metamorphina thinks their relation is. Both of you just do that to each other. And Sonic's no, just me.
It's no, Tails is a child. He would never do this to me.
Tails is a sweet little boy who I constantly harass. He would never say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Metamorphia as Tails tries to kick Sonic into a pit of fire, but he already knew what was up and is able to hop out of the way. Metamorphia falls into the pit of fire, and because she doesn't actually know how Tails uses his tails, she can't fly away.
That's very interesting, that it's not his body that makes him able to use the tails. It's he's practiced.
Yeah,
learned skill. I want to know how he learned he could do that one day.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So Sonic escapes the Grim Zone, meets back up with the real Tails and Amy, and Metamorphia is revealed to have survived, having taken a fireproof form. She's gonna go after him, and she will be a recurring antagonist throughout the comic.
Adding her to
in the reviews,
Suicide Squad roster.
Absolutely. In the reviews, we get a review of Art of Fighting, a Neo Geo classic. I believe this is where, if I'm remembering correctly, I think this is the one where Terry Bogard is from, but I'm not sure. No, this is a different one, I think, but this is part of, like, the SNK series of video games. There's a review for McDonald's Treasureland, which doesn't sound like something I'd point out, but it was developed by famous platformer developers Treasure, and I've seen gameplay of this in the past in a stream. It's a surprisingly good game.
What else has Treasure done?
Treasure did Gunstar Heroes, which is, like, one of the, like, really famous, like, Genesis titles. Let me see what else Treasure has done. Developer. Let me see real quick. Let's see. They've also made Mischief Makers, a sleeper hit for the N64. Alien Soldier, which I've seen at this played. It's really neat. It's like, it's almost like the 90s attempt at a character action game. It rules.
Ooh.
Dynamite Heady, another classic, platformer. They did Sin and Punishment, which is like, it was a Japan only, rail shooter, though I believe it also came to America during the Wii era as a virtual console title. They made Ikaruga. See, they did some Gradius. They managed to last until, like, the mid-2010s. Yeah. If you've ever heard of, like, Freedom Planet, that's, like, influenced by Treasure. A recurring thing in their games is, like, they have this weird spiked smiling mouth boss called Lemon Bread.
Lemon Bread.
Great name.
It's Melon Bread. Lemon Bread is the name of an enemy from Undertale, inspired by Melon Bread.
Oh! I vaguely remember Lemon Bread from Undertale. Maybe?
Yeah, they're from Undertale. They very late game weird encounter. Neat. Let's see. Continuing on. Let's see, Streets of Rage. In the news zone, Sega reveals Sega announces an upcoming upgrade to the Genesis called the Mega Drive 32X. The 32X is like, it's basically this sub-console you would put on top of your Genesis or Mega Drive. And you could play, like, more advanced games. Specifically 32X games. There weren't a lot of them. 32X is seen as kind of a failure, but, like, the only two games I can really think of that were big 32Xs, well, there were three I can think of. There was Tempo, which was, like, this weird, really nice looking platformer. There was Knuckles Chaotix, which we'll talk about someday.
Hell yeah.
And there was, the original Gex came out on the Mega Drive. There's, Bullfrog Productions announces Syndicate, a cyberpunk tactical RPG that, was pretty, from what I know, it was a cult classic. Many years later, it would get, like, a spiritual successor. I don't remember off the top of my head what that one was called. I have it on Steam. I just don't remember what it was called. It's like, Satellite, is it Satellite Raid? I think it's Satellite Raid. Yes, that's it. So that's neat. Let's see. Someone wrote an article about how there's lots of sequels coming out these days. You
say that then? I don't,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now there's a Sonic 3. There's another John Madden game. They're making an Echo the Dolphin 2.
God. If only,
when will
dude.
Chris Pratt voice Echo the Dolphin?
God.
If only, dude. Now there's sequels and reboots and sequels of reboots. And my cat keeps trying to get into my food.
Let's see. We get the third part of Tails the Morbidden Hunt. Tails is met by Prince Catalyst, who is trying to be very cordial towards him. He has to knock out one of his, goons to keep him from trying to cook Tails. He escorts Tails... He escorts Tails to this tent where the two kids he was sent to rescue are. They are very excited and happy about this. They're talking about how they let him play. He lets them play with his sword. He lets them drink fruit punch.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. They're being very...
Hey, Tails. Hey, Tails, you know those kids that you were sent to rescue from the Queen? Yeah, I got them. They're right here. You want them?
Yeah. Prince Catalyst has, a plan. Oh, and these two kids, who I forgot the names of before, their names are Jimmy and Jilly. They look identical. They look like smaller versions of Tails, but with one tail. He's essentially going to hide them somewhere where the Queen can't, catch them. They get escorted away on this airship with giant bat wings to a...
Sick as hell.
I fucking love this giant airship. They go to a castle with the Goblin Queen, Queen Volpicula is. Or Volpicula Huntar, Fox Hunter.
Oh, I see.
She makes them start the fox hunt, which is just her hunting down these 3 foxes along with her, goon squad.
In her own castle, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
She just gets on her demon horse and is like, okay, let's go.
I like her horse. Her, weird lizard horse.
It's like a big lizard. I love it.
Yeah, I love how it's bumpy like a gourd.
She's able to corner them, and that's where this issue's Tails story leaves off. Let's see. Other stuff. Let's see. Is there any fun questions that were sent into this comic this issue? Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's a story about, a kid with leukemia who, got a bone marrow transplant from his younger brother, and was, reading the comic, while in the hospital.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's nice. Some kids talk about, having this, thing during a birthday party where everyone brought their, Sega games and they, played each other's games. That's sort of it for this issue. Though we are left with a preview of Mutant League. next issue. Issue 31.
Has a weird slime man on the cover that has nothing to do with Sonic.
Mm-hmm. This is a guy from the Mutant League comic.
I feel it's unfair to be on a football team if you can just turn into slime. Mm-hmm. How is anyone going to tackle you?
Seems a little unfair, for sure.
Seems a little unfair.
So they in like the opening section they talk about there's going to be another Sonic comic called Sonic's World, another version of that.
In his world.
Da, 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 da. There's going to be another Decap comic. After one of these stories is over. And they also reveal there was like this, I guess looks like some sort of Sega sponsored broadcast that also showed off Virtua Racing. Our first comic for this issue is The Pretender.
Hey, Manic's back.
Yeah, we've got a green hedgehog.
Yeah.
With who looks just like Sonic, except he's got a cape and some C's on him.
He's got his head. He has like a little hair curl that looks like a C.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Manic, you're cool now.
He's looking like he's trying to be like Superman. Because he got the hair curl like Superman, and he's got the little cape. And they also all say, like, it's a bird, it's a plane. Although they're talking about the robots. Mm-hmm. This is, like, super Sonic.
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's winged death. We gotta run. It's the Blitz.
Mm-hmm. So, this not Sonic, who is able to defeat the robots very easily. This is Cosmic the Hedgehog. He challenges Sonic to a race. However, while he's able to run pretty fast, he has some trouble going through the loop-de-loop. Eventually, he gets worn out and has to sit down. Sonic, basically tries to, tells him to take it easy. And then Cosmic reveals their true form, Metamorphia, from last issue. They get into a fight. Metamorphia turns one of her arms into a giant pickaxe.
She's like, I got you away from your friends during this race. That's why I wanted to race you.
I gotta say, if you can turn into Cosmic Sonic, who appears just to be Superman, I don't know why you're putting up with the whole, I have to get you away from your friends. Just fly in and kill him. Just fly in and beat him up.
Well, they're not, actually super powered. Or, not fully, at least. Because, they get worn out.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a ruse.
I don't know.
I don't know. I was confused by that.
I thought it was just fully a ruse because they were like, oh, damn, you got me, Sonic. Psych!
Well, I was fooled.
Yeah.
If it was a ruse.
Maybe I am the fool. Who knows?
Metamorphia tries to catch Sonic by turning into a net. Sonic is able to stop Metamorphia from doing so by just running in circles and creating a little cyclone. Then Metamorphia tries to turn into Cosmic again, though this time without little bits of flare.
Doesn't
Yeah, first mistake.
Sonic dig out? Doesn't Sonic dig out and then make Cyclone?
Yeah, he digs out of the net, and then Metamorphia is like, I'll turn into a gas to choke you again. And he's like, what if I ran really fast in a circle? And Metamorphia is like, fuck.
Yeah.
Creates a cyclone, sends the gas away.
I like this when she transforms back into Cosmic. It looks like she's biting Cosmic's head.
Yeah.
Because, the transformation sequence makes it look like she's biting Cosmic's head.
Yeah, it's neat.
It kind of looks like she just bit Sonic and he's turning green now.
Yeah.
It kind of does, yeah.
A bite that makes you green.
Yeah. She's venomous. Gave him the poison status.
Oh no, he's taking tick damage.
They are attacked by some badniks, and unfortunately for Metamorphia, they go after her instead because she looks like Sonic.
Unfortunately for Metamorphia,
you're fucking stupid.
Unfortunately for Metamorphia, Robotnik did not program colors into his badniks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good thing Shadow doesn't exist in this continuity.
Damn.
All these badniks were...
Because it ended in, 19...
All these badniks were doing the donkey thing from Shrek, where they're just flying around like, blue flower, red shoes, blue flower, red shoes, blue flowers, red shoes. Ah, this would be better if I wasn't colorblind. Blue hedgehog, red shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So...
Yeah, it stops before Shadow becomes a thing.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, this ended in, 1998. The final actual story was, an adaptation of, what was it again? Sonic Adventure 1. And even when I say adaptation, it was very loose, because they didn't really have access to an English translation at the time.
Yeah.
They had to just take with what they could tell, from a Japanese version. So, Sonic defeats the Badniks, Tails and the rest of his friends help out. There is a panel of Porker Lewis and Johnny Lightfoot where they are very weirdly proportioned. They look like adult men.
They are.
They do! They look like adult men!
They are. These are guys.
Compared to, Sonic's short little, child body, I guess.
Yeah, they're adult dudes. That's why they gotta wear clothes.
Body.
I guess. Whereas, children could just be naked.
Yeah, it's
fine.
alright. They got shoes on, it's alright.
I like that Sonic continues to be naked.
I will
even with, all these characters that wear clothes.
Here's a paradoxical thing.
He's just I'm a nudist.
Here's a paradoxical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic and Tails are the only characters that wear shoes and gloves. They don't wear clothes. Everyone else just wears clothes. No gloves, no shoes. Barefoot is legal for them.
Right.
No shoe? They don't
Look
wear
at Parker Lewis's.
I didn't even notice.
Look at the bottom of the Parker Lewis panel, and you'll see that see some pink. He ain't wearing shoes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on this sort of thing. So Sonic and his friends review the damage. Metamorphia is gone. She might have transformed into something else to escape. And they'll probably see her again someday.
I hope.
To be determined. In the review zone, there's a review for Mutant League Hockey and Sensible Soccer CD, which, from what I can tell, is a UK exclusive version of one of those soccer games. I really love the name Sensible Soccer.
Soccer that's normal.
Other than that, not much to talk about in reviews. We get the Mutant League Football League. We get the Mutant League comic, which just leans really hard into this sort of AD cartoon absurd satire. This is weird to look at in a good way. I really love this fucking comic. It's got commercials and these just upsetting goblin men.
Yeah, this is the most like 90s image I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. This is a 90s... This is what 90s British people think football is like in America.
It is.
They're right.
Yeah, do they, like, specify that it's American football?
Yeah, I think that's...
Oh, yeah,
they're doing the hut hike.
They... Yeah. I think the plot involves, like, an enemy team being robots or something. The coaches...
Look at that big man in the background of
yeah,
the, like, final
that's
page.
Hulk.
He's just like, he is the background.
Wide boy coming.
That's, like, more grotesque than Hulk, though.
He's all shoulders.
There's, like, these people in a lab... Yeah. The plot seems to involve, like, these people in a lab trying to make ultimate robot football players. They grab the head of... They have to get the head of, like, the coach of the best team in the league. He gets so mad during a fight that his head just bursts off of his body. He's just... And even, like, throughout, like, in the next issue, he's still, like, ranting and raving as his severed head flies around. It's great. Let's see. In news, is there anything fun here? Let's see. Nothing. Oh, they note, not much to talk about here. They mentioned there's some delays, some more things that are coming out, like a tennis game that lets you play 4-player through a thing you hook up to your Genesis. Not much to talk about. In The Morbidden Hunt Part 4, Tails, Jimmy, and Jelly are cornered by Queen Volpiculia, but they are able to escape through a secret passage, which, as it turns out, was the prince's plan all along. Turns out he's gonna try to hunt them down and try to claim that bounty. Just to
enjoy the secret
sister at her own game.
I do enjoy the secret passage that leads to a door.
It does just lead to a door, huh?
Like a regular door.
They run from the prince. Tails figures out a way to escape, which is to hold the kid's hands, jump off, and make them think he's gonna fall to his death, but instead, he can just fly away. He in fact flies to the cool airship with the bat wings, and is able to return to the Fox settlement and save the day.
I do love the image of Tails jumping off with the kids, because they're both like looking at her and he's just smiling at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a funny little prank on them.
I do like this, like, on the final page, just them having gotten away, and you can see the giant airship in the background. That's theirs now.
It's just
yeah,
theirs.
It's theirs now.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal.
Yeah. Tails returns home, leaves behind his cool armor, and Tails is told by Sonic, hey, where have you been? Well, it's time for us to get back to work. And we get this fucking panel of Tails looking in shock. It reminds me of, like, that one pose they use a bunch in Clone High.
Yeah, it just looks like, guess I'll die, Tails.
Why don't Sonic got a neck in this?
Yeah.
Sonic does not have a neck, you're right.
Oh, yeah, huh. That is weird. It's just morphs from spine to body to head.
Chongy.
There's some more news on, like, this, event where Virtua Racing was shown off. I guess, like, a bunch of famous musicians, like, performed on the radio, and, like, there was a public event, and yeah. It looks like it was, like, a touring thing, maybe? Yeah. We get, more Pirate STC, the less said the better. A little preview for the next issue. There's gonna be a story involving Barf, the Badnik Army repair functionaries, Cam and Bert.
Barf!
Let's see. In the review section, one person complains that Jurassic Park got a low rating from them.
Wow.
One person doesn't really like Amy Rose's whole deal, which I'm noting because Amy Rose is going to go through some changes over the course of this comic that nothing else has.
Is she gonna look like her current form at any point?
I don't think so, but I don't honestly know.
They just don't like her because she's a girl.
Probably, yeah.
I'm like half joking, but also half serious.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like sometimes comic people just don't know what to do with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's probably both valid criticism and extremely non-valid gamer criticism.
Yeah, I can...
Someone who doesn't all the way get it.
Yeah, I can hate the character and also hate what the writer is constantly doing with the character. You know?
Right, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Someone complains that Knuckles hasn't shown up.
Yeah, that's
so
me.
True.
That's me. I'm that person.
They mentioned that a summer special has actually come out. I might try to dig this up somewhere. I'll check if it's in the Internet Archive version. I know there's a couple different Internet Archive things. If I can find it, we might talk about it next time. But that's sort of it for this issue. We move on to our final issue for today. Issue 32. They've got some more stuff from, like, they talk a bit more about, like, this, Capitol Roadshow. It's called the Sega Capitol Radio Roadshow. I think it's, like, Capitol Records or something. They've got some, we open with our first story for today, or this issue, The Unbeatable Foe. There's this mysterious cloaked stranger hovering, who has shown up in the Emerald Hill Zone.
Spooky.
There's this really good panel where someone asks, "Who are you, mysterious traveler?" They say, "I am known as the Mysterious Traveler." To which someone responds, "Oh, right."
That's what I said.
Mm-hmm. The Mysterious Traveler approaches Sonic.
Sorry, I'm looking at this pig's ass.
Yeah, he got yeeks.
His tail does seem to be weirdly placed in the middle.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't remember seeing that the first time I read this through.
Mm-hmm. I did not notice it.
Yeah, that pig is just kind of throwing it back.
Mm-hmm. The Mysterious Traveler reveals to Sonic a monitor.
Screed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a computer screen. Giving
Yeah,
you a
it
new
looks-
laptop.
Looks almost like a photocopier, maybe.
It looks like it actually looks like
Hey kid, you want to see my gaming PC?
it looks like one of those
Want to see my
DVD.
new rig?
It looks like one of those DVD players that like only plays DVDs, even if they look like a laptop.
Right. One of those weird portable DVD players.
Yeah.
Tails, Sonic doesn't trust this weird cloaked figure at all, but Tails does. Tails hops into the monitor so he can become as cool as Sonic. And he is transported to the Misery Zone.
The Misery Zone.
You know? No, Misery Zone.
It looks like a fucking, like... Reminds me of, like... fantasy metal.
Yeah, it's like one of...
metal covers.
It's a metal cover. It's great. It's just this horrible landscape full of, like, disgusting monsters. And also Tails is there.
They're all my friends.
Yeah, Tails just kind of has, like, an aw shucks face on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, aw, what did I get myself into again?
I love how, like, much like the Grim Zone, the Misery Zone has, like, a very different art style.
Yeah. It's definitely showing the artist trying to work with something they're better at.
Yeah, almost like every artist here was just like, I'd rather be working on my Ultra Grim Dark Fantasy series.
Yeah, the other one wanted to work on their, like, comic book heroes. This one wants to do gross fantasy, devils.
Yeah.
Their metal album cover.
And their metal album covers.
Mm-hmm.
Love this weird
Speaking
slimy guy. He's like spitting out.
Speaking of metal album covers, the exact next panel with the stranger and the dragon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They brought back, in Tails' place is the deadliest monster from the Misery Zone, which is this weird fish dragon.
I love him.
It's great to look at. I fucking love it.
Yeah, this yoked fucking fish man over here.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of chunky.
He is kind of chunky.
Like he's
chunky
yoked,
strong.
but he's also a little,
very strong, can breathe fire. Sonic has to fight him, but this guy's unbeatable. Meanwhile, Tails wanders around in the Misery Zone, nearly getting killed by several animals.
I like that it kind of shows him on his, like, little journey, and it, like, cut, but, like, those are kind of in the top two corners, and then it shows, like, in the middle, and then the bottom two are, like, Sonic dealing with this fish dragon guy.
Yeah, Tails is very confused and still Tails doesn't know what's going on. He thinks this is a test to prove his coolness.
Yeah, he's like...
Yeah, I can't believe he hasn't realized he's gotten duped yet.
He's like, I mean, if this is being mega cool, I think I'd rather be uncool.
Damn, Sonic, you do this every day?
Damn, Tails. You fucking dumbass.
Sonic is just always doing Doomslayer shit off screen.
God.
Sonic is like trying to fight this monster, who, it's not going well. There's fires going off. Like, he can't really do much damage. He eventually comes up with an idea, which is to,
I do love the monster torching the entire forest. Sonic failing to kill it, and the strangers in the background being like, haha, stupid.
They're just cheering for Sonic. He's doing a good job, I guess. The
stranger is just kind of like, yo, get fucked, dude.
Sonic figures out a solution. He grabs the monitor, he throws it at the big monster, sending it back to its home zone, and Tails in its place.
We did script over an incredible line that Sonic says.
Go ahead.
Okay, you're invincible, but are you happy?
Yes!
And in this panel, it does look like it's sort of throwing a tantrum. It's great.
He's just a baby.
He doesn't understand what's going on. He just wants to smash things.
What if Sonic...
He's like, I want to go home.
Adventure of the Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic, turning into a therapist and making this monster go on, one of those therapy, bed chair things, and it's just
Chase
tell me how
Lounge.
you really feel.
Yeah, that's some Looney Tunes shit right there.
So, the monster is gone, Tails is back, the mysterious traveler escapes, and, let me just make sure I have this right, Sonic doesn't really care, he doesn't have any sense of, he doesn't really see him as a threat. We do get a little thing saying that next issue, enter Knuckles. Knuckles is gonna be next time.
I like that Sonic's just they'll never learn. The only really unbeatable guy around here is me.
Okay, Sonic, but you were losing. Yeah, dude, you were losing.
Loser.
There's some reviews, nothing worth bringing up. Mutant League continues. I really just... This is the most, 90s British satire thing ever. It's great. There's, some advertisements for Diet Smeg, LA Gimp.
Ew, Diet Smeg.
You want some Diet Smeg?
Yeah.
Diet
From what I can tell...
Smegma?
I looked this up.
Some Diet Ligma?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
The Diet Smeg... I think this is a Red Dwarf reference, from what I can tell. I looked this up. Red Dwarf, which was airing around this time, had this, recurring, made-up insult, called Smeghead. It's just supposed to be, a generic, lighthearted, fake swear, but it does sound like Smegma. Anyways. There's in the news zone, they announce a new game coming out this autumn called Sonic and Knuckles.
Who?
Who? The guy from next week?
The guy who was in the summer special we haven't read. So they leave things deliberately vague. We get the box art logo for Sonic and Knuckles. We are told there will be a way to, quote, affect Knuckles' movement in Sonic 3. And they speculate that this is some sort of backwards compatibility, perhaps using a cartridge you plug in and put the other cartridge on top.
Damn, you're right.
You'll be able to affect Knuckles' movement. In a way, you'll be able to play as Knuckles.
Yeah. Let's see. There's also an announcement for some upcoming Simpsons games, Virtual Bart and Itchy and Scratchy. I don't really know the Itchy and Scratchy game, but I am familiar with Virtual Bart. It's this weird little, collection of... It's this weird platformer where you play as Bart, and you're in, Bart's, hooked up to this VR rig thing, and the only way you can get out is by beating all the games. And a lot of them are just weird, bad platformers, and they all feature, like, Bart mutated into some weird form. Like, in one, he's a dinosaur, in one, he's a pig. There's one game that is very easy that you win no matter what, where you just throw tomatoes at school children. It's not very good from what I know.
Yeah,
but,
it sounds...
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Interesting.
The Mega 32, it gets its official name, the 32X. There's gonna be a Batman Forever game. Let's see, any other fun things? Not really, but yeah. Our next and final story for today is Sonic's World, featuring Cam and Bert, Barf, search and repair operatives, and No More Mr. Nicebug, Part 1.
I love these two.
Yeah, they're great. The issue opens with Sonic defeating,
Barf.
Yeah, it's Barf, the Badnik Army repair functionaries. The issue opens with Sonic using this weird torch thing to destroy a Badnik it's supposed to reprogram them into nice Nicks, but as it turns out, it just destroys them.
It just blows them up.
He's very disappointed. He leaves. A Badnik soldier in hiding reports to Barf, as we mentioned before, Badnik Army repair functionaries. These are like two other animals named Cam and Bert. Cam is a cat, and Bert is a bull. They seem to be very muscular, especially Bert. Cam's got like this sort of weird jumpsuit dealy. Bert's in like overalls. Their job is to find broken Badniks and repair them so they can be sent out to fight Sonic again. They descend in these chairs into like a sort of hover car. It's like spatting and like barely making it through. They've got this really fun like villain rapport. I hope they show up in more stuff after this.
They have a Robotnik air freshener.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they say like,
What do you think it smells like?
Ivo's corset, this looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, does Robotnik wear a corset?
Who knows?
Yes. Robotnik is waist training.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
What do you think the Robotnik air freshener smells like?
It smells...
Eggs.
Yeah, it smells like
oil.
Eggs. Oh, or oil. Maybe
or oil,
both.
Yeah, maybe both.
Eggs that
Oily
have...
eggs.
Mm.
Yeah. Very...
Well, I do cook eggs in olive oil, but I assume you don't mean that kind of oil.
Right.
Yeah, this is petroleum, so it's the same function, you know?
Eggs that have been cooked in... Eggs that have been fried in petroleum.
Over easy.
Over easy, of course.
I'm always wondering, like... Because sometimes Robotnik in some universes just has robot, like, lackeys and stuff, but these guys, like, aren't. These guys are just, like, normal. I mean...
Normal.
Quote-unquote normal animal guys.
Yeah, they've got a very freaky design. But they do just seem to be animal people.
Yeah.
There are a couple things where Eggman's got, like, non-robot lackeys, but...
Like, sometimes he has his, like, nephew or something.
Yeah. Right. And, like, in this one, he's got his, like, Igor guy.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. They're doing repairs on this Badnik, and they find it turns out the Nice Nick thing worked in a weird way, because his software has been implanted with a virus that makes him nice.
Beam that makes you nice.
Beam that kills you, but also you're nice.
Kills you, but if you live, you're nice.
The soldier reports in that two of the buzz bombers that were sent to attack Sonic are missing. And Cam and Bert decide they're gonna punish him for his failure in Robotnik's place. And we get this final panel of Bert clutching this already pretty big soldier guy by the skull and armed with a hammer. It's real great. While Cam makes this very smug face in the background.
Yeah, I love that Cam never stops smugly smiling.
He just has a troll face in the background.
Constantly.
Benevolent troll face.
Yeah. In another article, we are told about the upcoming generation of consoles. We've got the 32X, that's gonna be coming out. Atari is working on a 64-bit console called the Jaguar, and Sony has announced the PlayStation X, a CD-only device. And we get previews for the new Virtua Fighter game. People are learning about polygons. Some kids are talking about, they got a bunch of teenagers and kids to talk about what their thoughts on the upcoming generation of consoles are. Some of them are worried about having to start from scratch for their new collections. A lot of them are real worried about what this means. Some of them are looking forward to it, though. We get more of that awful comic I mentioned before. Some fan art, some letters. Let's see. Someone from Wales complains about, how they can't watch the Sonic cartoon because it doesn't air there. It seems to only air in, England, Scotland, possibly, and Northern Ireland, aka
Damn.
Ireland.
Everyone... Damn. Wales is just wow, everyone else in the British Isles gets this but me. What the fuck?
I don't get it.
Yeah. Mega Drive makes a joke about how maybe they'll make a Welsh dub of the show, and also points out that Sonic the Comic is translated into different languages and distributed in different parts of Europe. They mentioned Dutch, French, German, Italian.
Can you imagine just it in Welsh with all those fucking consonants?
I want to hear Welsh Sonic.
Me too.
Show us the forbidden Welsh Sonic.
Yeah, I do want to note someone is playing what sounds like a harmonica outside my house, so
Okay.
that'll be in the background.
That's fine. There's gonna be a few times where you hear my cat either eating or meowing or so.
Yeah.
It happens. A little background music for you to finish up with.
See, a kid, talks about how he can't have fun outside because of his allergies. And they give him, the Sonic Water Fun game. Which is something we've mentioned I've mentioned offhandedly, like, people who get, like, their letters, posted in the comic, receive, like, a Sonic Water Fun game. It's like a little tube of water with Sonic and some rings floating around in it, and you get to push the button and stuff flies around.
Oh, those are weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think I always had trouble, like, putting the rings on those kind of things.
Right.
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, they're like bath toys or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a letter, someone complaining about how in some things Sonic has red soles on his shoes, but in others he has white soles, and Megadroid calls them out as a nitpick.
And they're right. That's a nitpick.
Yeah, he says, well, if sometimes he's got, like, white soles, then just get out a marker and color them in. And that's the end of the issues for today.
Yeah.
I think we got some questions. Let me just check.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
Just we got them last week.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a week old. Let me see. Okay, nothing on Twitter, but we did get some Discord questions. If you want to send in a question, you can either send it into an Ask post on our Twitter, or you can send it in anytime at your leisure on our Discord. We've got a collection of questions from Jasmine Sidmon, who asks, if you wrote a big RPG, a la Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, what destiny would you give your sandbox hero? So I assume, like, what would be, like, the ultimate goal?
Just in general? Or, like, if they were me? Because that's asking what my goals in life are. No.
I think it's just asking if you made, like, one of those, what would be, like, the quest, so to speak.
I don't know.
I guess I'm interested in, like, the Fallout New Vegas, one of my favorite games of all time, which it has one of my favorite, like, my favorite ending route in that is the independent one, where among all the factions fighting, you take the reins from them and take over Vegas as, like, as in charge of, like, a big robot army. It's fun. So I'd say, Conquest. Make color get big.
I feel like my big reference for this is just, like, goals in, like, tabletop games. And I
actually, yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I would want to have a very, like, fantasy setting, and then bring the concept of sports to it.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
yeah.
How do I introduce the idea of baseball into a medieval world where they have magic?
I don't know what my goal would be. Just, like, finding a cool weapon.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, like a really cool sword.
Just like a cool sword. Maybe one that talks. I don't know. Maybe that would be annoying. I don't need to do anything with it. I don't know.
That's my goal every time I play Skyrim. I'm like, I'm going to go out and find a cool sword today.
Hell yeah.
What would happen if a shape-shifting Mobian was roboticized?
Is she a Mobian?
I think she's more of like a force of nature. Godly horror.
Yeah. She might be her own class of shapeshifter. I don't know. She's got, like, an animal face in her second appearance.
I feel like maybe, I mean, you know, the process of roboticization is kind of inexact anyway, because like the concept of like transforming biological things into like tech like that, like it's one thing to replace arms and stuff with like prosthetics, even if they're like advanced robotic prosthetics, and it's another thing to like just all of your cells become roboticized. So I guess I know it's like suspension of disbelief, but it's like if I can do that, then I can just like say that a shapeshifter can become like all these nanobots that kind of like form like a liquid, like a liquid robot kind of.
Yeah,
like,
I like that.
My answer to this is along the same lines, but it's more of if they can shapeshift to anything, what's stopping them from just, turning back to normal?
Right.
Huh.
Like, if Metamorphina can turn her hand into a pickaxe, which I assume is metal,
right,
then what's stopping her from being roboticized and then just being like, anyways, that was fun for 2 seconds, and then just going back?
Yeah.
It's like, it kind of makes me wonder, like, what kind of deal does she have with Robotnik, where she can, like, go after them? Like, what do the minions have? What are their stakes?
Yeah, what are Cam and Bert getting out of this?
Right.
Do they have health care?
Yeah.
Do they get paid time off?
They're... So, many years down the line, there's a sort of... Ian Flynn starts working on Sonic Comics, and he starts writing up, like, these factions of, like, non-robots that work for Eggman, and a lot of it is, like, exploring, like, why would someone do that? And, like, the various means in which someone could be brought to that.
Yeah, he's gonna bring the jobs back.
I would say, if Robotnik roboticizes Shapeshifter, I assume what he'd do is, I don't know if he would restrain or enhance their powers, but, well, probably enhance. He's a mad scientist. And he'd probably, like, do something that, like, makes them limit their controls. Like, they can only transform if, like, he lets them, Create some form of subservience, some power limiter. But, like, they can do all sorts of cool stuff, too. They can do cool stuff, but only if it's for, like, defeating Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm just like, what? I guess it's always like, what are Robotnik's goals besides polluting the world? And, like, obviously every Robotnik's a little different.
Right.
Yeah, this Robotnik is funny because it seems like his only goal is to kill Sonic.
Right.
Because we never see him, like, enacting any other real plans unless it's like, this plan will all just be a setup so I can get Sonic.
Yeah, some seem more focused on Sonic than others.
Right. Like, I think of Adventures Robotnik, and Adventures Robotnik's goal is just to, like, ruin everything for everyone and just make people miserable. Some Robotniks specifically want conquest. Some want a theme park.
Some like just are like, I want to pollute the world. Others seem to be like, I want to roboticize everyone.
So, yeah. Our last question is, what's more fun? Jailbreaking or a Game Shark style add-on? I have jailbroken a phone before. It's not I don't normally do that sort of thing. It was just to, like, play emulators on it. Normally, I would say Game Shark. I feel less at risk if I'm using a special device that is sold in stores.
I'd rather just use an emulator.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna just use an emulator.
I've never tried doing jailbreaking. I've only tried Game Shark when I was like a small wee child.
Yeah.
So I guess that one.
I know the way those things work is like they do like a sort of temporary hex editing thing.
Interesting.
Let's see. James the Cat Girl asks, what would happen if Fantasy Knights got isekai'd into the Sonic world? Now, this is an interesting question because there is a game where Sonic gets isekai'd into a Fantasy Knight world, specifically one of Arturian legend.
Yeah, the Black Knight.
Yeah.
I think it would be like a fun... I feel like if a Fantasy Knight got isekai'd into Sonic's world, they would be like a one-off villain, but then like Sonic beats them and they do a face turn, and like they become like this sort of recurring ally, maybe.
Not to be annoying, but it probably just depends on the fantasy also. Like, I didn't know if Fantasy Knights was like something specific.
Right.
That she had in mind, or if it was like, cause you know, it could be a knight as in like an Eldritch Knight from funny game of tabletop I'm playing where they have magic and they can be like other animals then, because if they're like animal people, then it's like, oh, well, if an Eldritch Knight Tabaxi, so like a cat person, went into Sonic's world,
Yeah, you're regular.
would be like, oh, cool. You know, you're normal. You're just a cat person. But, like, if a person did, it's like, I mean, they might still be, like, irregular since Robotnik exists.
Right.
But, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could just be fun to be, like, Sonic ally. Or they could be, like, Sonic villain. Or... what if they're just stuck there forever?
Right. It could get stuck there forever.
What if you get isekai'd in and you become an animal person, though? Like, you're a knight originally.
That's probably the dream goal.
Yeah, you get morphed into your persona.
Yeah.
Right. I like that idea.
What if you don't have one? Like
if you don't have one, then...
Like Devon.
If you don't have one, you become a human, but you look like Robotnik. You've got Robotnik art style.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
You better make a persona, Devon.
Devon, you got any thoughts?
God.
Being peer pressured to make a persona.
So I don't look like Robotnik.
So you don't look like Robotnik, exactly.
No.
I'm just kidding. Robotnik's cool. I do like Robotnik.
Is he?
Well, the thing is I like Robotnik. I don't necessarily want to look like Robotnik. Right. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing about this.
I
don't really want to look like Sonic either, though.
You could also look
like... you don't want your eyes to meet in the middle?
No!
Right. No mono eyes here.
No!
I think that wraps it up. Let me find my die and we can roll for next week. Just rooting around on my desk, looking for that die to roll.
Digging around at the speed of sound. Sorry, I keep yawning. Christ.
Did I? I think I might have knocked it off the thing. I'm just gonna... I'm gonna cut this out while I dig around. I like the authenticity of rolling a die. Found it. Okay. rolling for next week. That is a 0. So I guess we're gonna finish talking about Lego Sonic Dimensions. Or we could talk about the Sonic manga. Either one.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. We
That's
could
a tough
discuss
one.
it off the air, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, you'll get something a little unusual next time.
Mm-hmm.
A little
right.
fun surprise.
Yeah. So, just want to remind people, we are still having that fanfic writing event. It did get pushed a little further because we had a delay. Let me see. Let me make sure I know which episode is next, or what numbers. Real quick. So, I believe this episode is episode 66. Oh shit, I might have looked up, never mind, that's unrelated. But anyways, this is episode 66. You have a few weeks. Admittedly, we haven't gotten any submissions, so I might try a different approach when we get to 69. But right now it is looking like we'll be talking... right, we'll have to skip the 25th for Thanksgiving. So currently the deadline is December 2nd. Remember, it can be as long as you want, as short as you want. Try to keep it not too adult. And have fun, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let us do some plugs. I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places, and you can find all those places at linktr.ee/big_challenges. From there, you can find my Twitter, @BiggerChallenge. You can find the other podcasts I do, which include Pod of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. By the time you hear this, we'll have started recording for Season 3. We've got some guests lined up for the first 2 weeks. We've got PhD Mum, aka Francisca. And the week after that, we have Chaz from Good Episode Productions to talk about Chaz. You can listen to Video Games, the movie, the podcast. We recently uploaded our October episode in November on Resident Evil 2002. That was a blast to talk about. Our next movie for November is Alone in the Dark, our first Uwe Boll film so far. You can listen to Chill Bleed, Michael Reynolds' Auditory Horrorland. We recently recorded the last episode. You'll probably be able to hear that by now. We may come back again someday, I don't know. Talk about other Dreamcast games. But you can also listen to Stranger's Fiction, actual play podcast focused on one-shots. And last but not least, you can visit at Xbox_holiday, where Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. Want to shout out the already long past Dick Dorkins Honeyversary. Shout out Guy Fawkes Day. I'm gonna check the schedule to see what's next. Looks like our next holiday... Oh, right. I haven't put it in the schedule, but I'll have to. My Valentine's birthday. And after that is Hanukkah. So, happy Hanukkah, Xbox.
Happy Hanukkah, Xbox.
Happy Hanukkah, Xbox.
Morg, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Haunting the Morg. That's Haunting the MORG. From there you can find my other podcasts, Digimon Ghost Gaze, a Digimon Ghost game watching podcast. We have 4 episodes out, 3 of them on Digimon Ghost Game and 1 on the Digimon movie because there was a break. I think we're gonna push off the recording a little bit next week, but we should be having another guest on also. Maybe someone familiar from some of the question asking for Sonic Shuffle. And then my other podcast that's kind of on hiatus, Departure Lounge, a Hunter Watch, a Hunter X Hunter, because I always say that on the show, specifically, watch podcast that's like airplane themed. And then, there might be something else coming out in the winter time, so just follow me on Twitter because gotta keep your eye out for some fun stuff in the works, maybe with some people you might recognize from, well, the last Halloween special we did, not the one with Roy, but the one the year before.
Right.
Anyway, Devon, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at GroovinGhastly and also on a Hunter podcast where I think we finally decided a theme for our podcast, and it's just that we're the horny one, I guess, somehow. So if you want to listen to some cursed content from hosts Emery, Sky, and I, you can listen to that one at Gonwell Hunting.
All right.
And that's what we're on about.
And we are the Sonic Shuffle. You can find us on Twitter at ShuffleSonic. You can find our Discord from there and in the episode description. And you can find us on noisepace.xyz. Let's see. Did we shout out Crime Cups last week?
I think we did.
Alright. Yeah, so noisepace.xyz, Canadian run podcast network with lots and lots of good shows on it, including The Field Guide to Canadiana.
Oh, God.
Two hosers, Derek and Matt, sorry.
I think that's Matt GameCube.
Mac GameCube.
That's his evil twin.
They pick a Canadian cultural niche and run through its history and impact on the national and world stages with some personal reflections to try to determine what it means to be Canadian. There are 2 episodes.
When will this... I've heard Matt talk about this, and he's always just like, when will this come back from the war? So maybe someday you'll hear a 3rd episode, but no promises.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 episodes.
As is the nature of podcasting.
To be like that, though.
The first episode came out on July 1st, 2016. The second episode was a month later, on August 17th, 2016.
I would actually... Do you think it would be very funny if he just came back without mentioning the gap?
Yeah. It has been 5 years.
What hiatus?
This podcast
It's been
5 years. But it's on the alphabetical shout-out list, so I gotta shout it out.
Matt's funny. You should listen to other stuff he does, even if not that one. Like Tuning Fork and Elite Full Restore.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Elite Four Store got a new episode.
Oh, yeah.
New Elite Epi.
Yeah. Episode 20. They talk about Pokemon. Anyways. Yeah,
They sure do.
That's everything. So, as always, Sonic is real, he's strong, and he is my friend.
He's the only blue life that matters.
The only one.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Wonder Man, Wonder Man.